Scott Nelson jumped up like immediately, and which Scott always does, right? Scott's always very energetic, and he's like, no, I've got the perfect guy. I've got it. You have to choose my guy. I'm like, okay, Scott, calm down, buddy. Let's go ahead and let's listen to you. And he's like, Kyle over at Sophia. He's the guy. I'm like, you know what? You're right. Kyle is the guy. Kyle, you don't get to see it, but I am currently staring into a lot of lights right now, and it is very, very bright. Like normally I come in here and it's not bad, but I don't know what it is today, but it is super bright. And now somebody's calling me. I don't know who you are. You're getting ignored because I am on the Big Access podcast with Kyle Baker with Sophia Consulting. Kyle, thank you a ton for joining us today on this week's episode of the Big Access podcast.
Man, my pleasure. Glad to be here.
Well, dude, I know when I was reaching out, talking with other people or with our sales team about, hey, who do you think is going to be the perfect person to come on the Big Access podcast and talk to us about the subject of PDK and Hanwha working together? Scott Nelson jumped up like immediately, and which Scott always does, right? Scott's always very energetic, and he's like, no, I've got the perfect guy. I've got it. You have to choose my guy. I'm like, okay, Scott, calm down, buddy. Let's go ahead and let's listen to you. And he's like, Kyle over at Sophia. He's the guy. I'm like, you know what? You're right. Kyle is the guy. So let's definitely do that. So Kyle, thanks a ton for being willing to take the time to jump on this call with us today.
Yeah, of course.
So Kyle, talk to me a little bit about who Sophia Consulting is, right? Let's go ahead and introduce you guys and what your role specifically is with Sophia.
Yeah, so I'm the founder of Sophia. We specialize in both physical security and data communication infrastructure. So we started out just kind of pursuing video surveillance and access control, and then kind of developed a big passion for the structured cabling side, and have grown that side as well. But almost all of our work has come from our excellence in access control, and that's kind of something we pride ourselves in, and doing that well. Feel like we're the best in the area at it, and we do that by kind of just learning from everybody we can. So yeah, our company's 3.5 years old now, going strong. We started in the middle of COVID because I'm an idiot, but I did it anyway. And so we're here, we're still standing, and we're growing. So love it.
That's awesome. I mean, when you were just talking about, hey, you started in COVID, that was one of those moments where business either thrived or they died. And so not too many people wanted to go and take on that risk of starting a new business at that time. But you were bold. You went and did it, and now here you are thriving.
Exactly.
So, that's awesome, man. That's really cool. So what's your history in the industry? What made you want to go and start Sophia?
Yeah, honestly, I wasn't in security very long. I was kind of pursuing sales and marketing as a second career. We had gone back to school after being a golf professional for a number of years, and ended up just kind of randomly getting a job as a salesperson for a rep firm in the security industry, and kind of did that, traveling a little bit until my first child was born, and then tried to get a little more local. And so went to work in sales for a local integration company. Learned a lot there. That's where I started learning more of like how things actually worked, when you kind of like get closer to the boots on the ground. And then I just developed a passion to want to see kind of an organization that fully valued every member of the team, from the technician to the CEO, the salesperson in between, where there was like a symbiotic relationship, understanding and partnership with one another. Because I just didn't want to see more cultures exist where technicians were just kind of thrown into the field to deal with whatever the sales guy put together, and there's just a lot of animosity between those things. And so we just want to create a work environment and a space where people could thrive and feel proud of their work and work together as a team, and and just come together in that way.
Dude, I love that. That's so cool. So what made you name it Sophia Consulting? Like, what's the story behind that? Because Sophia is not anywhere near close to Kyle Baker.
No, it's not a name either. It's so Sophia is wisdom in Greek.
Okay.
So it was just a passion to. So that's why I named the company's legal name is Sophia Consulting and Integration. We've kind of rebranded for some local purposes to Sophia Security and Datacom. But the reason that consulting is in the name, and the reason that Sophia and wisdom is so important, it's a core value of ours, is that I always say, like, I want to guide people in wisdom to help them make wise decisions, because I just feel like people, for their businesses, especially when you're talking about small and medium businesses, like, people are sinking their lives into this stuff, and
Yeah.
they come to us to be the expert. And I just saw too many businesses who were just kind of throwing in solutions that were just what they did, and like kind of leaving the customer in the dark and telling them, yeah, this is what you need, but not engaging them in the process and not asking the right questions to say, like, is this the right solution for you? And if I can't give you the right solution, can I point you to somewhere that can? And so I really value that. I kind of look away from a traditional sales model into like consultative design and selling, to where I'll collaborate with other companies and other people to make sure that the customer ends up with the right solution, because I want to value them more than the sale.
Man, that is huge. And I think that's a good segue into how do you go about making sure that you are covering all bases for that customer? I mean, obviously, like you just said, a small to medium business or any business in general, that is everybody's life work that is thrown right into that to get it to where it is. And it's important, right? And so different security solutions are there to help protect assets. There's there to help protect the people that are there. So how do you make sure that you find the perfect solution for the customer?
Yeah, I think that just goes to your care on the front end. And so for me, that's just about when I meet with them, when I sit with them, when I do a walkthrough, it's about asking the right questions and listening, like truly listening to what they have to say. So that's step one. And to me, that's, asking what they're thinking, what they think they need, or what they desire. Kind of see, what issues are you running into, and again, just start pulling on the strings. Okay, well, did you have an experience that made you think this way, or what's your desire here, or what are you hoping to get out of this? And then it's a matter of, okay, once I've heard and taken the time to listen to everything they've had to say, then I can fill in the gaps with my knowledge, right? And say, okay, well, here's what you're desiring, and there's some good baselines there. But to be realistic with you, if you want to accomplish that, it's going to take this, which is in, this range of budget, or it's going to require this many cameras or this many doors, and you're going to have to, do this specific type of solution with these doors. Or so it just kind of it helps me fill in the gaps. And then once I've filled in the gaps of what they desire and what they need, and what the realistic expectation of that should be, then they can start making truly informed and wise decisions of, like, okay, I can't afford X. I know I can't, but I want to do it well. So where can I peel back in a way that makes the most sense, where I'm not giving up as much? And so that's where I feel like we truly create a lot of relationships and partnerships with our customers, because at the end of the day, they're going to walk away knowing, okay, at least they were empowered to make a decision and knew what the pros and cons were of each of those.
That is awesome. I mean, that is a customer first mentality where you really actually are trying to help them out in their daily lives and their daily tasks that they go about doing. So that's awesome. How do you go about using PDK to make sure that you're solving those problems? And ultimately, why have you chosen PDK to be one of your access control solutions to help your customers?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of pros to PDK. We jumped on a PDK within about the first 4 or 5 months of starting Sophia, and we're extremely happy with it from the previous company that we were utilizing. And the biggest things that help us with that is that a lot of our customers, or the specific customers that I think benefit the most from PDK, are the ones who aren't security experts. And the reason I say that is that the user interface and how you function the access control system was just so user friendly. It was so easy to learn. It was so laid out in front of you that it was just like, that's an important part to me, is how does the customer interact with this? Because they're not the type, where we started in property management in particular was kind of like one of our first customer verticals. You just have a lot of people who are managing 8, 10, 12 properties, and they're not sitting there monitoring, like live monitoring events that are happening, and they're not on site. What they are is they're reacting to something after the fact, or like somebody calls them, hey, we've got this emergency that's happening, and they need to be able to respond quickly. So for us, the fact that the mobile app was exactly the same as the web browser interface, and that you could access them both at the drop of a hat as long as you had an internet connection, that was the biggest selling point for us. And then it's just a matter of like, we have our standards for door hardware and how we want to wire systems up. And so then it was just a matter of learning, how PDK's hardware can be utilized and leveraged. Um, and so it was a quick marriage, and we kind of ran out of the gates with it.
That is so cool. And we love to hear, the reasons why our customers love PDK and why they choose to stick with us. So I know that you guys are very good at what you guys do. You guys have been a fantastic partner with us. We've absolutely loved what you've been able to do there. So that's great. But then there is another really cool partnership that you guys have as well with another manufacturer that we actually have a great relationship with, and that is Hanwha Vision. So talk to me a little bit about, who Hanwha is, why you guys chose to work with them.
Yeah, so a couple of reasons. So my first foray into security was with a rep firm, and we actually were a Hanwha manufacturer's rep. So I was pretty familiar with it, and then the integration company I went to did a little bit of Hanwha as well. But when I went out to start Sophia, looking for and making sure I wanted to have the right partnership, obviously there was a level of comfort I had with the line. But to me, it kind of hit a couple of check marks for me. One was that I could play in multiple verticals, and I could hit multiple price points or create like a really creative solution. Their Wave VMS was super user friendly, which was, again, for me, because I'm thinking of how my customer interacts with this. These aren't the type of people who have a command station set up somewhere. I needed the interface to be as user-friendly as possible, because they're going to need it when they need it, and they're only going to touch it when an event happens, it seemed like. So that was a super important thing. And then the third thing was like, I had a really good support channel with Hanwha. They have local manufacturers reps, they have territory sales reps. They do a great job with project registrations. Like when I'm selling something and I need to get aggressive with it or compete in a certain level, or I'm flipping a spec, or just trying to, it's just a large project, and say, okay, like we're driving this, can you help us get this in the customer's solution? They work with you. They do a great job project registration. They got a good partner program and great warranties. And so it was kind of a no-brainer for us to just push that. And we've been able to really do everything from your small to medium business, your multifamily, kind of basic solutions, all the way up to enterprise solutions and large industrial customers now, utilizing the wide range of their cameras and all kind of on that Wave VMS.
That is so cool. So one of the other really cool things that we love here at PDK is that Wave VMS and PDK.io, they're able to talk with each other to really create that full turnkey synchronized solution. And so talk to me about a job that you guys have done where you've been able to integrate those two platforms together to really create the best experience for your customer.
Yeah, like I said, I think the best examples are our property management customers. We've had a couple of multi-tenant loft buildings where you've got like 20 to 40 rooms in a building, and they're all owners, HOA kind of thing. And in many of those scenarios, we utilize PDK because of its user friendliness, its mobile credentials, how the property manager is utilizing it, being able to have multiple sites for your cloud nodes and everything. All of that was a big part of putting PDK in there. And then, like I said, Hanwha was ready. Well, that's our primary platform for that. So when it was an easy marriage to make, and I think that was kind of the biggest one. And again, like, you have this simplicity of the integration, in that what I'm doing is kind of creating those bookmark events where, when they're going back to look at what happened in the video, that they can see, okay, who opened the door for this person, et cetera. And it was just such an easy one-click kind of pull you into each platform. It made a lot of sense. And again, we were already kind of going to market with both. So when we kind of did the research and found out like this integration will work here, then it was just a no-brainer to start doing it. And it did also. It's also great that there was no additional charges for it.
Hey, yeah. I mean, it already included with your hosting subscriptions there, right?
Yeah.
That's cool. So how does your customer feel about having it be able to work together in synchronization with each other? I mean, is that a big deal for them, or do you think that they like going from one software to the other to go on pull reports and mix and match and put puzzle pieces together, or is simplicity king?
I mean, simplicity is always going to be king, right? And there's one of the little workarounds that we do is that we'll actually take the in Wave, you can pull up a tab or a page, and you can actually pull in a web page next to a camera on the same page as camera. So we actually kind of dummy it into a single pane of glass for them in some way by pulling it up, and they'll have their PDK tab, and so then they just log in there instead of going to a separate browser. And even though it's really the same thing as toggling between a browser, it gives them like, hey, I'm in one place, I'm in one app. So it gives them a little bit of that experience. But like I said, these customers, and for the most part, I think the vast majority of anybody's customers are not proactively watching a lot of these systems. What they're doing is taking care of their business. They're trying to earn money. They're trying to take care of customers themselves, and these things are all here as like a safety net for them and a way to just protect them. And so the biggest thumbs up we kind of get from customers is always just like how they love the search features in Wave. Like I always show them the smart motion search, which just kind of like dumbs down hours and hours of video into a few minutes of video to toggle through when you're able to like zoom in on a certain zone of a image and say, hey, I just want to see the events that happen in this image, or use, in the case if you have video analytics, etc. But then almost all of the incidents they have, particularly in multifamily, I keep going back to that, but one of the biggest issues I always have is like stolen packages in their main area. So then their big question is, well, how did the person get in? And so to have the event log associated right there, like they know who most recently went in that door, how that person gained access. You can tell, was it remotely unlocked? Was it unlocked at this reader? But as soon as that's tripped, like you have that video simultaneously next to that event, and it just makes their life a little easier.
Oh man, I love that. That is so cool. I mean, that's just like you just brought up the stolen packages. That is utilizing security platforms and technology to be able to solve problems that existed beforehand, and hopefully you'll be able to, or hopefully this end user will be able to mitigate those issues pretty quickly with that. So that's fantastic.
Absolutely.
Well, Kyle, we are just about out of time on this week's episode, but I did want to thank you once again for jumping on. You guys are a fantastic integrator with us, a fantastic partner with PDK, and we love working with you. So thank you again. If you have not already done so, be sure to subscribe to this podcast, give it a 5-star rating, and then let us know if there's anything in particular that you are wanting to learn. We'll be sure to throw that into a future episode. But thank you guys again so much for jumping on PDK's Big Access podcast. We will talk to you next time.